Hello, everyone, and welcome to another of South Asian Artists in conversation with South Asian artists. Today, with us, we have the lovely Nisha Aaliya, and we're going to be talking about Girl on the Train, Shakuntala Devi, and Nisha's career so far. So, thank you very much, Nisha, for being here. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm good. Today's like a bit quiet, a bit dead outside. But yeah.
Yeah, kind of good start to the weekend. It's pretty grey, so and it's going to be raining tomorrow. So
Why London? Why are you
I
like this?
know why.
Seriously.
Um, so for everybody who doesn't know who you are, if you could just say a little bit about yourself, who you are, and I like to ask every guest this: what kind of made you get into the career that you are in?
Okay. You know this is the worst question. Like when like, so tell me about yourself. I
That's
know
the thing. Like, I did a
I love that scared.
I did a sketch on it, but that's the thing. I hate it. But then when I ask other people, I'm like, I have to ask, but I hate
Yeah,
answering. So
but
I
I'm
feel you. Like, what do you? Yeah, no, just say kind of what you do,
what?
and maybe like focus on how you actually got into the industry.
So hi guys, I'm Nisha Aaliya. I am an actress. I'm also a dancer. I also model as well. Oh wow, it's really flowing. And I am based in London. I work predominantly in film. I've done the UK scene, I've done some of the Bollywood scenes, so I'm kind of like in between. How I got into the industry, like, do you mean like the entertainment industry? Or
Yeah, just like you mentioned, obviously dancing, acting, and modeling. What inspired you? Was there anything particular that got you your sort of got you into it?
I think like I think it all started with dance because the way I see it in my head, I can see how it looks like from the outside. Like it looks like a proper flow and like a pattern. Like I did dancing and I was modeling and then I went into acting.
Mm.
But those three things were very separate for me, like on the inside. And the initial thing that I was doing was just dancing because I loved dancing. And I started in university. I went to Queen Mary, represent, and um, and I basically just picked up some dance classes there in Freshers Fair because I heard Bollywood music. So I was like, yes, I'm going there. I just wanna dance. But like in my head and for me, it wasn't like a possibility to actually be a professional at it or even think about like a career in the arts. I didn't even think about it because back then it was just like a brown girl in the arts. Like that just doesn't make
No.
sense. And I went to school, went to uni. I did a tech job, so still like living my life and doing what I needed to in life, along with just having this passion for dance and going to rehearsals and joining classes and stuff. So I think that for me was like the first step into the industry, even though at that time I didn't see it like that because I was like, I'm just um and then I basically stumbled upon an opportunity which like I'm so thankful for. I'll always be really, really thankful for. And it was a case of like being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
uh, there was an audition going on for a musical theatre show, and I was there sort of helping out my friend with the dance piece, and I was spotted there by the director who had asked me to audition. And at that time obviously I was like, I'm not even an actor, like why are you doing this? I'm like, oh my god, why did I even question it? Like why didn't I do for it? So yeah, that happened. So I auditioned for that, and I made the transition. Like this was over the course of like months, but I made the transition from being in a tech career where that was my life to
Mm.
transition to becoming an actor. And that's how I got into the industry, if that makes sense. Like it
Yeah.
started a musical theatre show where I learned a lot. Like it was so intense, overwhelming, but also like beautiful and magical.
So it kind of started off like a hobby, and then did you ever sort of want it secretly as a career, or that kind of just accidentally
Do you know
kind
what?
of
I
happened?
I'm always asked this because that is my reality and that is my truth. But
Mm.
I always think back, like when I used to watch Bollywood films when I was young, like when I was a child in my room, and I would reenact like what I saw like on the screen. Like I remember that song Hero Number One, I'm not gonna sing it, but
I was gonna say.
song, and I was just like, I had like boy cut hair, and like I just wore like Indian clothes, and I was just like moving to it, like oh, I don't know, like a monkey. But so I think maybe subconsciously I probably did want it, but I didn't know it was possible. I mean, for me, it was not possible. I'm from a Muslim background. Like, this was just not it. But secretly, like, maybe I did subconsciously. I can't deny that I was like, oh, I didn't want it at all. Of course, I think secretly I did.
Yeah, no, and sort of putting on, like, reenacting the shows, I feel like it's speaking to previous guests and generally, I feel like so many actors slash dancers slash models did that as a kid, and that's kind of like subconsciously what sparked all of our kind of interest in it.
It's weird, isn't it? And it's like, and a lot of that happened with Bollywood, because I didn't really see brown people on like TV, so a lot of it was Bollywood related, and I was like, this is cool. But yeah, it's interesting.
Well, you pretty much actually answered the first question that was sent in, which was how did you get your first job? So thank you for that. And following on that, your most recent, I think it was your most recent, which is the girl on the train.
Yeah,
that was incredible. I watched it. Oh my god, it was amazing. If you could just tell everyone about like the whole process, so auditioning and finding out you got it, to filming it and then seeing the end product.
Auditioning, so obviously my agent sent me through this casting, and I was like, oh cool, like it's a film. They don't really, like, you don't get all the full details sometimes. You know how it is, right?
Yeah.
Casting breakdown, you don't get the full detail. But it was like a Hindi script, and I was like, okay, cool, yeah, I can do this. So I read the part, and then I think I did it twice, because there's like a recall as well. So for it, and then I got a recall, and then I got the job, and I was like, yes, this is great. And it was like summertime, I think, that we were filming in 2018, I believe. So it was quite a while ago we filmed, but yeah, it released just now. The experience was really good. Like, I remember the first time I was traveling by train, to set, and like playing a song in my ears, and I was just like, the sun was shining. This is so funny, but like I was just like, oh my god, I'm going to Bollywood. It was so funny. But then I arrived on set, and like you know how it is the first day on set, like it's just mad, and everyone's doing everything, and like it's 7 a.m. in the morning or 6:30 in the morning, and like breakfast is setting up, and then you're like, where do I go, because there's just so much madness. But then I found makeup, I found like wardrobe, then I was got given my lines, and then I was running my lines, getting ready, and then obviously Pariniti Chopra just walked past, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy, this is nuts. I mean, I knew I was playing her best friend, but when you actually see them in person, you're like, it's real.
You don't believe it, and then you're like, oh my god, this is actually happening, and it hits you.
Actually real. Like, do you know what, RD? Like, we were discussing this, that when it's your quiet time or your downtime, when you're not actually actively working, you're, you know, behind the scenes, and you're just kind of maybe doing monologues or self-tapes or training. But when you're actually like on set, everything just kind of like rushes, and you're finally, you're like, okay, I'm here, all my training has to mean for something. So that adrenaline, I think, really takes over. And I remember just sitting down next to Pariniti Chopra, and like we just started the scene, and it was, I was like, oh, I was actually really scared, like I was really nervous, but she was really lovely, and she was really nice. And the character I was playing was called Bia, so she was just like, Bia, oh, and I was like, ah, funny. Oh, yeah, that was my experience. I don't know if I'm missing anything out of that.
How was, you know, that experience from watching her in Bollywood and all her shows to actually, because it was predominantly, was it all filmed in the UK? Was any of it filmed in India?
All of it was filmed.
All of it in the UK. Okay. Yeah. So how was that kind of working with her, but also working on a film in the Indian scene, but in the UK? So that's like two questions.
Two questions. So a lot of the locations were actually like central London locations, especially where. So like I filmed for about a week, maybe a little bit more than a week, and now when I walk past, because it was quite close to my home, and I walk past those locations, and I'm like, oh, I filmed there, and I ate biryani there, and there, and you know, like with the crew and stuff. So I have those amazing memories of the actual like filming of it. But yeah, seeing Pariniti Chopra, I really had to like stop seeing her as the star Pariniti and start seeing her as a friend that I can sorry, that's not COVID. My throat. I had to basically start seeing her as a friend that you could be like snatch her phone off or like give her a shake and like really kind of knock some sense into her. So that like quite difficult in the beginning. So we had to take a couple of takes to just get that right, because I needed to be the best friend that is her sounding board, but also like, yeah, like knocking sense into her. So I can't be like, oh no, you shouldn't do that, blah blah blah. But yeah, no, she was really cool though. That really helped, that she was like willing to work collaboratively and like allow me to do that. So that was really nice.
That's really interesting that you mentioned that, because I've been kind of thinking about myself by having discussions about this idea of hierarchy and kind of imposter syndrome, and like, you know, being on that set with her, obviously kind of naturally like, oh my god, it's this big star, but then you realize you're playing her best friend, like you're part of it as well, you know, you're there as much as she is. So that's really great,
Yeah.
that she was really friendly and naturally you eased into just relax and be like, you know, we're just both human actors, and it
Yeah,
helps in the
human,
episode.
like she's a human, I'm a human, we're the
Yeah,
same.
exactly.
Yeah.
And what was the response like to, because I've seen that you've done quite a few interviews and I've seen them articles, congratulations on all that, by the way. What was the response like in the UK but also in India?
So like on Netflix, it actually trended #2 in the first 24 hours that it came out. So I was like mind blown, because I didn't expect that sort of response. And then we came to find out that it was #1 in the world trending. So I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So everybody was like, there were people messaging me saying, oh, do you know this is what's happening in Dubai? Like, because I have family in Dubai. So they were messaging me, it's #2 in Dubai, I think, or #3, I can't remember what it was. But the response was much more than I had ever expected. And I feel like, especially like not just my friends here, not just my family, not just people I know, but the wider community, the actual industry that we're in, the UK based industry, everyone was like you know, messaging me or reposting it or just saying congratulations. And I feel like that feels so nice after like years of, you know, grinding and like working in silence, and you're like finally, you know, support and people actually rooting for you, which is so nice. Because I think when an artist or an actor is like just on your own kind of doing the work, you don't necessarily see that support every single day. And obviously you're driving it yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like we should be entitled to support, but like it is nice when you get it. It is like, oh my god, like there are people that are rooting for you and people are watching you, and it's a nice feeling. So
Especially, you know, like you said, you've been grinding for so many years and like you work your way up. It's like you deserve that, and it's so great when it was like better than you ever imagined. It kind of surprised
yeah.
you, and you had like not just your friends, family, but strangers kind of being like, oh my god, amazing.
Yeah, because especially because the role that I was doing, it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't one of the main roles. It was a smaller role, but to be noticed was really cool, and I didn't expect that. So when you come, I guess when you don't expect anything, you're just
kind of exactly. And another thing that I loved about the film was like the genre, because it kind of it breaks the stereotypes of what we kind of see in Bollywood, and I guess as, you know, South Asian and people of color. I really like that it wasn't, you know, again centered about race. It was a thriller, and how often do we see like South Asian thrillers? We don't, and that's
true.
That's another genre that needs to be explored, because I feel like there's such a massive market in terms of that. So
I
let's
think
hope that.
the backdrop for a thriller, especially for South. Yeah, I think
Sorry, was it? Sorry, I missed.
Oh, I think London is like a good backdrop for thriller,
Yeah.
and enough like there's enough British Asian artists and actors here. Like we know this.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots more can be made. But yeah, I really like that it was female led. There was a lot of strong females in that film as well. That's something I really was like, oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, especially again another thing in our community which we need to be doing more of. We're seeing that represented on films.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So going on, another project that you've worked on as well is, I'm going to make sure I pronounce this right, is Shakuntala Devi.
That's it. Well done.
Yes, got it. How was that experience, and what was your highlights from working on that?
That was a really cool experience as well. I think I did it around the same time ish as The Girl on the Train.
Okay.
The role that I was playing was I was discussing and interviewing Vidya Balan's character. She plays Shakuntala Devi, on a new book that she had released on homosexuality. So my one was like, my role was this annoying reporter, kind of saying that, oh, are you homosexual? You know, just kind of bringing that topic up for discussion in that time. So I thought it was quite an interesting role. And again, that film was a female-led production. Like, what I mean by that is the director, the AD, the runners, obviously Vidya Balan, like, it was all very female on set. And the fact that I have to mention this, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's just different. Like, I come from a tech background where, again, that's not a female-led industry. It's a lot very male-led. So and then obviously the previous Bollywood work that I had done was like very male-led as well. And then just coming on Shakuntala Devi set, it was just interesting. I was like, wow, this is a breath of fresh air, really. So that was it was a really fun shoot for me. Wasn't there for long. It was only a 1-day shoot, but did manage to, Vidya Balan like spoke to me, and she was like, how do you know like really good Hindi if you're like born and brought up here? I was born in Holland, but
okay.
Here. And she was just kind of shocked, and it was really nice. Energy was nice as well. So it's always helpful when the other actor is like warm, open, and like willing to work with you rather than just come and do their bit and go.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky in that sense that I've had warmth and like inviting co-actors.
Again, it makes you feel like you should be there and that you are appreciated. And, you know, even though you said it was just a 1-day shoot, it makes you feel like, again, you're needed as much as everyone else is.
Exactly. It's a film, and the little things that all the parts come together to make the whole thing solid. So that's what that is. Yeah.
Exactly. What was your favourite part of filming that?
Of Shakuntala Devi?
Yeah.
What was my favourite bit? Out of the 1 day. What was my favourite bit? I think it was the running the lines with Vidya Balan. Because obviously, like, when we get a script, we're usually running it either with our friends or by ourselves, and we're just like, okay, yeah, all right, this is the line, great. But then when you actually do it with somebody who's done it for so long, and she's a mega star, like, she's a fine actor as well. So just to kind of see how she did it was cool, because you also get to learn through that, because from someone else. So and I was going to say this, like, every job that I've done, I've learned something from either my co-actor or like the director or the people on set. Like, it's always a learning curve, and you always get better and better, like, each job that you do. So I think my highlight was just kind of running lines with her and just seeing her process as well. And she had to put on a South Indian accent in the film.
Okay.
So it was interesting for her to say the line in her normal Hindi accent, usual Hindi accent, and then she put on the South Indian accent. So that was also interesting to see that. I was like, oh, cool.
That transition there, she can just do it, like, click her fingers and
I couldn't do that.
No. God, no, I think it is like the whole industry is a collaborative process, and we, like, even major actors there, like, are still learning to this day, and they're learning off other people. And that's the beauty of it. When you've got your own techniques and working on different film sets, you're always learning, oh my god, I didn't know that there was that way to do it, or that way. You just kind of build your craft more.
So it is really cool. It is I love it. I'm in love with it.
Yeah, same, always growing. And kind of following on from that, you've, as you mentioned, you've worked in both the UK scene and the kind of, have you done US, by the way?
I've done something that will be US, but it was shot in the UK. But I think at the moment. But I have I have done something.
Done little bits, yeah. Cool. Well, obviously, you know, you've predominantly done like UK and the Bollywood scene. How was that experience, and what did you find was quite similar, and then what was that noticeably different?
So I think, do you know what? I think the difference between like Bollywood and the UK scene would be, say if you're doing a film in both industries, I think it'll be pretty much the same,
Mm.
but like the difference will be in the style of organization. So one thing would be more organized and one thing wouldn't be. But I think the difference comes for me, like personally, from film and commercials. So when you're acting in film, it's different, and when you're acting in commercials, it's different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because commercials, they're filming like a 30-second to a 1-minute piece, and in that they've got to get the exact framing like spot on, and you do that again and again, and it's very like the acting is very different in that, whereas in film it's different in that sense. I can't really describe how it's different. Can you help?
Like, what, as in the way they kind of film there compared to here, or like the
the way they film and the acting that's required. So I think
yeah,
in film it's more naturalistic and it's like less is more, whereas sometimes in commercials they want more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you can be a bit more like
A bit
expressive because you're like selling kind of
exactly, but still not over the top. So there's also that sort of caveat. But like I did Operation Cobra, which was a web series for India, and I had a item number thingy in a song, and in that I was asked to be really expressive, and I'm generally quite expressive, but like they were like, more, we want more.
Oh my god,
how much more do you
have you got more in you? Like
I was like, I don't know how, but yeah, like I did pull it off, I guess. But
yeah,
it's interesting. It's like you've got to talk to the director and figure out what level of acting they want. Like, do they want over? Do they want like a little bit over but not over the top? Do they want completely natural and real? And then you kind of change it. So I think the differences are in the mediums rather than like the countries or the different industries.
What, like, would you want to do more Bollywood, or are you kind of happy here, or you just want to continue doing like a mix of both? You don't really have a preference?
I think a mix of both would be great. Like, I think the way I've like positioned myself, I guess, is that I'm from here and I'm a British actress.
Yeah.
So my natural way of acting would be quite British, I would say. Say Bollywood films were here, they came here and they wanted to film, and you know they wanted like a British Asian actor, then of course I'm going to be like yeah. And the same with US as well. Like I'd like to go to the US. I would like to actually branch out there, but also I feel like London is my home. It's always been my home, and I've got like a strong attachment to it. So I'd like this to be my base, and then just kind of like fly out wherever I need to for work, but always come back here.
Yeah, come back.
That's how I want to do it.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I was speaking to Anisa, and she's done like work here but also a lot of work in India, and she was saying that she would love to do both, but because I think she said she was brought up here, she's so used to it, and like you said, the style of acting you're so used to, I guess, like it's where you feel a bit more comfortable. So completely understand why you would.
Exactly. And you can mold, as an actor, your job is to like mold to the character that you're playing, and where the character is from or based, you've got to obviously acquire those sensibilities. So that's part of the job, I think.
Yeah. Cool. So there's another question here that was sent in by someone. It's quite interesting. I want to know what you're going to say. What would you say being an actor or an actress means to you? I'm going to throw in like dancing, modeling. So I just guess being a creative, what does it mean to you? It's a bit of a hard question, because I feel like I think of that, it's kind of similar to like, tell me a bit about yourself.
Yeah.
So much to say.
I think, do you know what? I can answer the actor part, and the creative part I'll answer separately.
Yeah.
I think, because I think with acting, because I learned about this when I went to acting school and stuff, and I was just amazed with the amount of knowledge that you don't know exists, and suddenly your acting teacher's like, did you know X, Y, and Z? And you're like, what, how? But there, but you know, you come to know of these like these things. For example, like in society, as we're growing older and older, like we're taught to be a certain way, and we're taught necessarily to focus on our impulses and act on our impulses. So like, you know, things like you mustn't talk to strangers on train, or like you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. As an actor, I find that you can act on your impulses in a safe space. And I really like that. I love, like, that's what it means to be truly human, is to act on impulse. Now, I'm not saying if you hate someone, go and kill them. That's terrible. And I don't, I'm not condoning. But do you know what I mean? Just act on impulse. Talk to that stranger, maybe. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, you naturally, you should kind of do that within kind of limitations, and I guess acting offers you that freedom to be able to do that.
Exactly, yeah. So it's for me, being an actor is like being an empath, like diving, being whoever you want to be, and acquiring those sensibilities and those, like, diving into the mindset of the character, so you're in a safe space, able to play around with instinct, impulse, different mindsets. And yeah, I really like that. I'm not a freak, but I really
no. It's kind of like, it's because obviously you have to bring yourself to every role, so it's sort of like molding who you are to the role, like either doing more, being like more of a villain, being more of a girl next door kind of thing. You just mold your personality to suit whatever character you're playing.
Exactly. But like, having said all of that, I feel like I want to say that we as artists, creatives, actors, I feel like it's important to understand that that is a job at the end of the day. Like, it is a job. Like, I know we can't punch in and punch out. There is no 9 to 5. We can't switch off. But I think, like, I've, especially over the pandemic, I've begun to realize that your worth and your value as a human and as a person doesn't depend on how well you're doing as an actor or a creative, or how much work you're booking or not. Like, it doesn't matter. Those things are, like, they shouldn't define you. So I think it's also important to understand that acting or being a creative is also a job. As you get to experiment a lot, but it's also a job. So I think keeping that healthy boundary is important.
No, that's really important that you said that, because I feel like so many people, I mean, I've done it, you might have done, you kind of get stuck in the trap of living your whole life by being a creative. And it's like, I guess we do it because we love it. It's a job, but at the same time, we love what we do, and it's all around us. Like, a self-tape can come in at any time. Like, it's just so unpredictable, which is why we kind of are living it. But we were talking about before, you've got to have that space to do other things and for yourself, so you're not defined by everything that you do.
So if you're booking a job like every week, great. If you're not booking a job for like 3 months, still great, because you shouldn't feel any more or less because of the job you do. Like, a man working in construction, or a woman working in construction, or a policewoman, they're not going to define themselves as a part of their job. So I don't know, it's a new thing that I'm like experimenting with, but I feel like that's where I'm going.
You've got to find that balance, because then it will just drive you insane, and you're not going to have that time to reflect on yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, no, definitely it does. Another question here. So you obviously did a commercial with Irrfan Khan. How tell us about that experience?
That was an amazing experience. And now when I think about it, I'm just like, wow, I feel blessed to be able to have experienced that, you know, because he, like, I've always been a fan. I've always his work, and just him as a person as well. So separating him from the acting, him as a person in real life was just, he was like inspiring, and like I was literally just standing there like, oh my god, this is Irrfan Khan right in front of me. This is great. But he was so nice. He was so helpful, and I remember like getting the lines for the commercial a few days in advance, and I was practicing them like over and over again. Again, it was in Hindi, sort of, you know, when something's in Hindi or a different language or a different accent, you've got to make sure you've got that down, because when they say action, you're like, what can I speak?
You can't mess it up. You've got to get it.
Way of being. So I had practiced so much. The line was like dim dimate sidare, which means something about like the twinkling stars, and I remember being so ready for it. But then when everybody was in the room, Irrfan Khan's behind me, and then the director was like, action, And I got so nervous that I was like, like I just couldn't speak. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. And then he was just like, no, it's fine. It's okay. We'll just go again. And then he was just like, but don't worry, it will be dubbed. And I was like, yeah, sure, cool. Yeah, it was good. It was a really lovely experience. And I will cherish that my whole life because for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. How long ago was that?
I think it was maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago. Wow.
Okay.
Flies.
Oh my god. And what was that? I'm assuming that was filmed over in India as well. Because was that filmed here? Oh, okay, so I thought it was an Indian commercial.
No, it was filmed here. Again, that was a whole day, and I remember the day was like, I don't know, 19 or 20 hours long. Like, it was a long day, but I've had such great memories because I had so much fun on set, and like I just remembering it being such a crazy packed day, but was so worth it in the end. So and days are like that. They're always very, very crazy and very long hours, and at the time you're like, come on, let's get through this. But
yeah,
I think back and you think of like the wonderful time you had and the memories. So yeah, it was a good shoot.
Yeah, no, I was talking to Nikita about this in the sense that, like, because it's the day of filming, it's so mad, especially if it's just one day, you've got to get everything done and you're not kind of like making the most of the moment. And then when you think back, you're like, oh my god, like how sick was that? Like, that actually happened, and you don't feel, because everything, you're just like, right, I've got to do this work, and then you've got that time to reflect on it.
Exactly. And even like waking up stupid hours of the day, like if it's like 3-4 o'clock because a taxi's coming to pick you up and you've got to be on set for 6 o'clock or something, and in the moment you're like, I'm so tired, like what am I doing? But yeah, afterwards it's so fulfilling and you're like, yes, it's all worth it. Everything.
Yeah, got that reward. Cool. And to sort of we're going to go into some fire round questions in a little while, but okay. I like to sort of end the interviews, and obviously because it's South Asian artists, talking a little bit about representation. What would you say accurate representation means to you? Know, when you look around you, when you look on screens, what does it mean to you personally?
I think it's a narrative that's being told in the most truthful way, or most authentic way, and it's normalizing like society's outlook on a certain race, on a certain gender, a disability, and it's just normalizing what is real, and what actually exists. And it's not stereotyping. Like I do have a problem with stereotyping, because you think of a certain race, or you think of a certain kind of like character. Like, imagine a female, and somebody describes a female to you, immediately you're like, oh, she must be this kind of way, or a man, he must be this kind of a way. But when you stereotype, there's a danger of ignorance. And so, like, for example, if I'm a Muslim, and I've had experiences where I'm in an area where people don't know what Muslims are about, so they will only know what they've seen and heard in the media. So it's really important to show accurate representation. If you're playing a brown character, hire a brown character, so that some authenticity and realness comes along with that. And I think that's important to educate. Gosh, I don't know where I'm going with this, but
I completely get, like, you've got to show it how it is, because that can misinform, inaccurate, because everyone watches TV, so you are going to absorb what you see, and then you're going to think it's that kind of reality, being like, okay, I'm seeing these people on the screen, this is how they all must be in real life, and that's where the prejudice kind of,
that's it. And I think it fuels ignorance, which isn't helpful. So I think it's really important. And I think if I'd seen more brown people when I was younger on TV, like, I only remember Connie from Blue Peter, but and I was like, oh God, there's like any there. Is she Indian, by the way? I don't know if she's Indian.
I'm trying to think what she. I know the name, but I can't think of the face. I want to say.
I'll do some research.
South Asian. We'll Google it after.
But yeah, like I can just remember one person, but I know that if I saw more brown people on TV when I was younger, I'm sure I would have wanted to be in this career way before I did, like before I did. So that's also why representation is important.
Yeah, and I was talking to Raj Ghatak about this, and he was saying he kind of knew he wanted to go into the industry, but like if he wasn't seeing that many faces, it's like if you're not seeing it, then how can it be possible to know that you can do it? Like you've got to be able to see it to be like, okay, well these people are doing it, I can do it.
I can also do it too. So yeah.
And another thing going from that is like, to do with stereotypes. I feel like producers can be like, oh yeah, you know, we've got a few, this is their representation, but that's not enough. Like I feel like there's so many layers that come into it. Like, yeah, we're on screen, but how are you portraying us? Is it in the correct way, or is it just tokenism? That's another thing that
like one example, I think almost every brown girl gets called Kim Kardashian. I mean, I used to get it on the street, and I was just like, oh, I don't even know, like I didn't even know her before, and I was like, you know her because she's on TV, but we have always existed, and we've always been this skin color, and we've always had like dark hair. Like it's not a new thing for us. So I think more representation is absolutely important. Otherwise, they just bulk you in what they see on media, and then you go, oh, that person, I'm not nothing like that person. So,
no, we need to represent the people that we are, not other people representing versions of us.
Spot on.
Yeah, that's a good thing to end the interview on. But we're going to go into fire round. But just thank you for all of your insights. I think it was great learning about the two different industries that you've been in and working with all these people. So one thing that I got about it was kind of the idea of hierarchy, how you've watched someone on screen, but again, they're just a human being, so just treat them like a human being, and they should treat you like that.
Don't have imposter syndrome, even though
don't do. Oh god, it's so hard, because I feel like I didn't know about it before until more recently, and I was like, oh my god, it's actually a thing that people experience. I'm like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, and you know what, it makes you feel normal, because I feel like, especially over the pandemic, things have come out that you're like, I've always felt that. I thought I was the only one. Then you realize everybody else is feeling the same as well. So we're more alike than we think.
Yeah, exactly. We're more alike than we think. I love that. Cool. Well, that is a good thing to end on. Okay, we're going to go on to some fire round questions. I've tried to not make them hard. Well, maybe the first one. Okay. So if you weren't in the career, you might be able to answer this. If you weren't in the career that you are now, what would you be doing? Because I know you said you were in something before, but now, what could you see yourself doing?
Oh, like now? So after being an actor?
Yeah, no, isn't just like if you weren't in the creative industry, what could you see yourself doing?
I don't know. My first instinct would be like go back to tech and what I want, but yeah, tech, I guess.
Cool. Okay, if you could drink any drink for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I like Rubicon lychee.
Oh my god, that's
love that.
I haven't had that in ages. Oh my god, I've had the mango one recently, but not lychee.
Oh, the mango is nice too. Mango lassi. Oh
yeah, that's so good. Gonna add that to my next shopping list. Okay, I've got like 2 would you rather questions. Okay, number 3. So, would you rather go back to age 5 with everything you know now, or know now everything your future self would learn? So go back to when you were 5 with everything you know, or know what your future self would know. It's hard because I'm like,
I know, but then I want to know what my future self will learn, because what's done is done, and your life is your no regrets. But my future self learns.
I was thinking what I would say for that, and I was like, what would be more beneficial? Because I thought what's done is done. I need to see what I need to learn.
Yeah.
Cool. Number 4. Okay. Would you rather be forced to dance every time you heard music, or to be forced to sing along to any song you heard?
Dance. Definitely dance. Singing scares me. I've done it before on stage, but it does scare me a lot. Like, I'm not confident with that.
Can you sing? Like, would you call yourself a singer or not? Or you just?
I did the musical where I was an actress who could maybe hold a note or 2. That's how I define myself.
Same. I'm like there, but I'm not a singer by any.
Warm up, but you're not quite there yet.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, final one to end on. Obviously, you've done a video about this before. It was their message to your younger self. But for anyone who hasn't seen that video, what if you could say one thing to your younger self now? What would it be?
Don't wait for other people to validate you. You are already valid.
Yes. Powerful. That's a good one. Yeah, because I feel like, especially as creatives, I feel like validation is so important because you have to market yourself. You have to be your best supporter, so you can't get that from other people. Gotta validate yourself.
I used to do this as well, like ask around thinking, oh, do you think I could do this? Do you think I could do that? And I know when people talk to me who are looking to be in this career, they're asking me, and I'm like, if you think you can do it, you can do it. Like my or somebody else's opinion isn't gonna change anything. You've got to do it. Just go for it. Believe in yourself.
Yeah, and the thing about that is like some people will love it, some will hate it. Everyone's always gonna have something to say. So as long as you like it, you think it's good, then who cares?
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that is a good message to end on. I just want to say a massive thank you, Nisha, for being here today and for chatting. I hope you enjoyed it. I found it really, really insightful. Thank you for sharing everything you've done with us as well. Just to let everyone know, I haven't selected a date when this will be out, so just keep an eye on my socials and I will be letting you know when this will be out. Also keep an eye on my socials because I will be announcing future guests to come. Again, thank you, Nisha, for being here. Cool. Well, have a good day, everyone. Bye.